Considering it to be unwise to inhale from the purple incense placed upon the altar, you make your way back to Melanie under the suspicious and judgmental stares of the other witches in the room. Melanie ends her conversation with the other witch and turns to you, just as you reach her. "Follow me. It sounds like Mistress Lorain is in her study," Melanie says, leading you towards a flight of stairs that leads up towards a hallway. "Please do be careful how you act around Mistress Lorain. If you wish to ask a favor, especially one as big as having your memory restored, I suggest you try and act as charming as possible," Melanie says to you, leading the way down the hall. "Have I acted poorly so far?" You say skeptically. You take slight offense at Melanie's words. Surely you haven't acted rashly in the small time since you entered the coven, you think to yourself. "No, but you have quite a bit to make up for. Like I'd mentioned, what you're asking is no small favor, plus you smell awful and look even worse," Melanie says, looking back at you from the corner of her eye. Self-consciousness suddenly sets in to a strong degree. You haven't bathed in days, your shirt is torn down the back, and you've been coughing like a sick dog. Not to mention the fact that after your trudge through the muddy streets while it was raining, your bottom half now has a layer of mud that reaches up to your thigh. To be completely honest, I wouldn't have even bothered taking you into the coven if it hadn't been for your mention of Sister Emma's name. Appearance-wise, you're no better than a drunkard," Melanie says in a tone of indifference. "Has this been the impression you've given to the people you have met so far? That you're no more than a beggar on the streets? Though the past few days have been all but kind on your appearance." You reach the final door at the end of the long hallway and Melanie stops, beckoning you to be quiet. From inside the room you can hear frantic and aggravated whispering. As Melanie knocks on the door, the whispering stops abruptly and is replaced by the sound of footsteps meeting with the hard floor. The door opens and a short witch stands before you. She has a deep-set expressionless face and short brown hair. She wears robes that look to almost mimic those of holy positions. Hardly what you had imagined when thinking of Mistress Lorain, a powerful witch of the Izengrim coven. The most prominent feature of the short witch is a necklace that sits upon her shoulders. For a few moments its familiarity evades your mind's grasp, but then you remember. This was the necklace you had seen in the fortress, the one Sister Emma had warned you against touching and had taken herself. Now Mistress Lorain wears it around her neck. Melanie gives the slightest of movements, suggesting a bow. You try to mimic Melanie's movement but give a stiff and awkward bow. "Sister Melanie, what is the purpose of your interruption and who is this?" The woman you assume to be Mistress Lorain says in a cold and quite unpleasant tone. You look over the stubby height of Mistress Lorain and notice that even though you could have sworn you heard whispering coming from within, there is no one else in the empty space of the room. "Forgive my interruptions, mistress, but this person and the reason for the interruption are one and the same. This traveller has had their memory erased by magical means and was told by Sister Emma that you could help them restore it," Melanie says. "Damn that child. Every time I send her out of this coven, she ends up getting some poor sod killed in search of us. I'll deal with her later. As for you, stranger, I'm afraid I have no time or resources of which to help." Mistress Lorain stops in the middle of her sentence. She looks as if she is listening to someone or something, almost as if a phantom voice speaks to her. "Yes, that is true. You have a strange aura about you, traveller. A magic permeates from you that feels old, almost ancient. Come into my study, perhaps we can arrange something," Mistress Lorain says with a cold smile plastered on her face. "This whole circumstance feels off to you. What will you do? Follow Mistress Lorain's invitation into her study, just the two of you? Or propose a different altercation? It is up to you, the viewer, to come up with another situation if you wish to deny Mistress Lorain's invitation. What will you do? Follow the mistress's eerie invitation into her study, or try to come up with another proposal? Leave your decision and explanation on this episode or on the YouTube short that will come out tomorrow, and always remember that newcomers are more than welcome to participate.